Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. I'm Eric, the founder of KBox, a student-led non-governmental organization dedicated towards empowering foster kids with culture. And today I want to inform you on part 1 of the NIAC Foster Family Association Liability Insurance Crisis. But first, let's learn a little bit about Foster Family Associations, aka FFAs, and what liability insurance does. FFAs are private organizations that aid and train foster parents to care for children placed into their homes. They act as a link between the state-ran system and foster families, meaning that they also need to ensure homes meet licensing standards for the care of a foster child and that the child receives the proper care, counseling, and education that they need. Liability insurance is something that all FFAs legally cannot function without. They protect the agency and the foster parents in legal disputes, including injury, property damage, and potential child negligence, and sometimes even sexual assault. For the Nonprofits Insurance Alliance of California, which I'll be calling NIAC from now on, they provided these 3 main coverages: the improper sexual conduct and physical abuse liability, social services professional liability, and the directors and officers liability. Over 90% of FFAs were insured by the NIAC prior to September 9, 2024, but suddenly the NIAC announced that they would not be renewing these coverages for all of their FFAs. Now the reason for this is due to a major financial hit that the NIAC took due to the Martinez case. In this legal battle, Mark Martinez was convicted of essaying and spreading child essay material on the internet of his 3 foster children who were all siblings. According to Imprint News, the NIAC was responsible for the defense of Mark Martinez, and the subsequent loss of the legal battle awarded $25 million to the 3 siblings, $15 million of which the NIAC was liable for. This financial hit was too much for the NIAC, which subsequently led to them dropping out of the FFA liability insurance market. Now remember, the NIAC insured over 90% of all FFAs in California, and FFAs legally cannot operate without coverage. This means that roughly 8,000 to 10,000 foster kids may be displaced. The pullout by the NIAC may cause these foster children to return to congregate care, an example of which is the Juvenile Detention Center. Since FFAs are now trying to switch to alternatives, insurance costs have risen by over $150,000 compared to last year. This increase in cost has proven to be too much for many FFAs, and many of them have even shut down due to this unforeseen cost spike. However, the NIAC hasn't tried to completely disappear from the scene. They've tried to pass new legislation that would aid FFAs to be insured even without their help. This comes in the form of AB 2496. AB 2496 basically states that FFAs are not held responsible for unforeseeable harms. FFAs that meet their responsibilities well enough shouldn't be held to a different standard. FFAs are not responsible for another person's negligence, and that FFAs need to get sufficient information and time to evaluate lawsuits and claims against them. But while those were the initially presented terms, Gavin Newsom, the current governor of California, only passed a heavily modified form of AB 2496 that doesn't do the job intended by the NIAC. FFA liability coverage is running out, and this modified form of AB 2496 is not buying them any time. But here's the thing. Private FFAs need to generate funds, no matter if they're nonprofits or not. These funds are generated by placing foster kids into homes. And since the process of becoming a foster parent requires a long, intensive, and sometimes invasive questioning process, private FFAs for a long time have been incentivized to not really thoroughly screen their potential foster family guardians in order to maximize their profits. This may be a possible reason for why the Martinez case even happened. In fact, according to Capital Weekly, the FFA that Mark Martinez and his wife were licensed by left 9 of 12 critical assessments completely empty. The FFA failed to screen Mark Martinez's mental health disorder and missed a major red flag when Martinez told the agency that he and Marta had conflict over their intimacy, which could suggest that he'd be inclined to take out his frustrations on the children brought into his home. So, what do you think? Is this crisis the fault of the NIAC, state legislators, the FFA themselves, or are multiple to blame? Thanks for watching, share this video to someone you know, and follow us for more.